from 1997 all the way to 05, 06, you had the greatest bull run, and it kept on defying logic, and it kept on going. And the more it goes, the more you get people to join, and the more they rationalize that it'll continue. And it's not, you don't just skew buying decisions by what the cost is monthly. You also say, okay, well, the only place I can afford is Victorville. So what that it's a 75-mile drive to Orange County? That's okay too, because I'm going to make $100,000 on my house, and that all unravels at the same time. And now you have migration changes because they realize that doesn't work anymore.
Gas only costs $2 a gallon.
A lot of people know that I've made a bet with somebody in front of an audience that when oil was 142, I bet that it would be 50 before it was 150. So I've gotten a reprieve, if nothing else. Richard, you've been quiet. A lot of investors have gone to other states because they apparently have wood and bricks for free there, because houses, they're building houses, let's say in Texas, and you can buy them and they're $110,000 and they're brick. And you come here, and I don't think you can get a building lot probably out of the ground for less than about 80. How does the building industry look at this and say, other than completely stealing a finished building lot, it looks to me there's going to be a little while before we build quantities of homes?
No, absolutely. I'm quiet because I'm just waiting for you guys to figure this all out so we can start building again. But that's really the problem. I mean, we have to get through the crisis. And I keep thinking of it, and our industry keeps thinking of it as two crises in one. We had a housing crisis, so the industry, from our perspective, was looking at a soft landing. We knew production was going to slow down. Kept saying next year, and then that year ended up being better than the last year. And we finally got to 2006, and everyone was convinced it is going to start to slow down, and it did start to slow down, and then it really started to slow down, and then we got into 2007, and the bottom dropped out. And so there are underlying core problems that created that housing crisis that none of us are even talking about tonight. And we're focused on a credit crisis that then got laid on top of that, March of last year, especially August of last year. And I don't think any of us like the solutions that we're seeing, because probably most of the people in this room are free market folks. They believe in individual responsibility. But the reality is, because that run-up was so long, and because the numbers are so bad, and because we built all of our financial institutions on the concept that the American homeowner was an undeniable winner, it was the safest investment in the world. Unfortunately, I think the responses we're seeing are necessary, because letting the market correct might just be so painful that none of us would be here when it's all over. So for our industry, it's really tough. We're sitting watching, where does it all land? And we're still focused on the core problems that created the housing crisis to begin with, which are the way we drive so many costs, and I touched on them earlier. The California home is a very expensive animal, and it's going to remain an expensive animal. We haven't done anything to change the underlying costs of producing a home in this state. We haven't done anything to add certainty to the process of creating a home in this state. If anything, unfortunately, our friends in government actually seem to be unaware of the problem that's going on in the housing market and are layering on more and more and more at a faster pace and at a greater pace the restraints upon the production of new housing. So right now it's not an issue, and we're going to fool ourselves as the market corrects. Absolutely, affordability will come back, and we're going to fool ourselves that we've solved the core housing crisis of affordability. And when production is needed again, those problems are going to come rushing back, and that's when we're going to be faced with then trying to solve those problems. And my opinion and our industry's opinion, there's an underlying affordability problem that's being masked right now, at least in this state.
There's an affordability problem, as in it's too expensive?
Cost of production.
A cost of production.
Cost of
I see.
production coupled
Okay.
with
Now,
regulatory impact.
Do you think that the building that, when it does resume, will probably build a more reasonable sized home? Because I think the reason why they built the big ones is because the lot costs so much. I mean, that was an understandable thing. We can build a 4,000 square foot house and someone will buy it, or a 2,000 on the same lot. And if they're going to buy a 4,000 square foot, and we can make a lot more money on that extra 2,000 square foot of construction, that would be a reasonable decision. But now we got a few too many of those.
Well, and let's layer in reality here. I mean, I think we're all under the impression that we were building nothing but 4,500 square foot homes. Reality is the average square footage in the state only moved in the last 10 years from about 2,200 square feet to about 2,500 square feet. So they were bigger, but they weren't
They weren't
They
giant.
weren't all massive.
Okay.
And what gets built goes back to, you know, that residual land value calculation and the market, what the market will bear, what the demand is, where the particular land is that you're looking at. So there's a lot of factors. Do we want to build affordable? The industry wants to build affordable product like never before right now, because that's the only product that can move in this market.
But
So-
that, when you have a lender-owned property going for half of your cost, that's a bit of a problem. I just want to say one thing before I forget about it. I think this is an unusual event. I don't think I'll ever get to see this much of a mess happen inside of such a tight time frame. But I think what it's also going to do, we're going to skew prices so low, artificially low, that I think we're going to create massive migration that could have never shown up here. If you're in Texas, for instance, you have a 3.5% tax bill on a $150,000 house. When you retire, you don't get the state tax benefit of not paying state income tax. So when you retire, you're just stuck with a big tax bill you might not want. You come out here, you can literally go across to Sacramento, Moreno Valley, Hemet, lots of places, and go straight across and have a cheaper overhead and a climate that's much better. I actually think we're going to skew migration to California in huge numbers after 2011. And what's going to be interesting is the only place for the price impact to go will be to existing inventory, because there wouldn't have been a bunch of building. And you guys won't be creating lots because they don't pencil. So there'll be a gap, and that'll create the necessary price movement to where you finally will pencil and you'll be back in business. Yes, sir.
I'm sure this isn't popular because I'm in the state of California, but whoever put up the map where you had the orange blocks, who had that?
Orange?
Okay.
Okay.
You remember the orange blocks and you know, like Phoenix and Las Vegas and California. Well, you realize that during this entire period of time that we're all talking about, you could have gone to Carolina and Georgia and Oklahoma and Texas and on and on and on, and bought that same house at that time for years and years and years for half of what you could of all those markets that are now orange. What you have, those markets that are orange, were so tremendously overheated by a variety of different things, they had to come back to normal. And normal still is the entire United States of America, in my opinion. And so when you get way out of balance, any place, way out of balance, you will have to seek normal again. And of course, when we travel around selling homes, we happen to find what normal is. Yes, Bruce?
You know what's interesting is if you had auctioned off a house in 2005,
yes,
you would have found normal probably 20% more than the builders thought they would get, because there was so much velocity to the emotion of buying that product. So you're right, the auction proves the truth. Now, I wanted to get back to what you were saying. I love California because it's got velocity both up and down. I've invested in Texas. It hasn't been really exciting.
boy,
It doesn't move the bit. I know that California is volatile, but it gets what happens is we get to go up again because people want to be here more than they want to be in Oklahoma. I like the fact that it's volatile. I can count on the fact we're going to get unreasonable again, and I'm going to profit by it and get out close to the peak, I hope,
well,
and enjoy it over and over again.
Well, the bottom line is, though, you do have to accept it when you're on the roller coaster going down.
You betcha.
That's the only thing
You
that I
betcha.
was making, point I was making.
And to know that it's coming in advance is a big help.